Here's your General Hospital recap on what happened in Port Charles today, Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. At the Davis house, Christina came home to find Molly, who was there to confront her about paying Cody to break up Rick and Ava. Christina apologized and said she thought she was helping. Sonny arrived to ask Molly some questions about acting DA Turner. Sonny wondered about the parameters of Turner's jurisdiction and how they might affect him, Laura, and the vote on Measure C. Christina's attempts to stop the conversation and get them to leave failed. Molly told Sonny that Turner had a lot more power since Robert left and had been keeping a close eye on him. Noting Turner was ambitious, Molly said she was still fair, though, and would not obstruct justice or create evidence in a case against him. Alexis went to see Rick. When she took the ball gag out of his mouth, he frantically begged her to get him out of there. She pretended to be surprised when he told her about Christina and Ava ripping into him, and about putting all of the money in a bond account. He figured Ava hit him on the head, but didn't know how he ended up tied up like a hog. He vowed he would take care of Ava, and Alexis wouldn't have to deal with him or Ava again. To his surprise, Alexis said she couldn't let him go. She recounted what happened and said she, Ava, and Christina decided that holding him captive was the best course of action. Questioning why she would help Ava over him, Alexis told him that Ava was going to give her the security footage and Rick's damaged car, which would keep Christina from going to prison. Rick promised he wouldn't press charges against her or Christina if she let him go, but she said she was going to take her chances with Ava. He then asked if she planned to kill him once she got what she wanted. She told him to relax because they weren't going to kill him, but planned to keep him on ice for about 30 days until the bonds mature. Once they could get the money, they would put it back in the Cassadine Trust, and Ava would turn over the evidence to her. Then, Rick would be free to go. He knew he wouldn't be able to go to the police since they all had dirt on each other. Rick felt Ava would try to kill him anyway, and did not have faith in Alexis when she said she wouldn't let that happen. As she was about to leave, Rick yelled for help. She said no one would hear him, but went to put the ball gag back in his mouth anyway. When Rick said keeping him there would be inhumane, she reminded him that he did the same to Carly when she was pregnant. When Alexis came back inside the house, Molly had to leave for work, and Christina made an excuse to leave as well. Sonny and Alexis talked about Drew and the restraining orders he took out against them. Sonny said Drew had made so many enemies that it was only a matter of time before he got what he deserved. Christina went to see Rick. She assumed Alexis filled him in on the circumstances and how he earned himself the nice little staycation there. Like Alexis, she relished being in a position of power over Rick. She said, with the exception of Molly, no one was likely to notice or care that he wasn't around. Christina taunted him about how he defended Ava in court against her and asked, "I'm just curious, now that you're on the other end of her wrath, you really think it's possible she didn't cause my fall?" She reminded him he was only going to lose about a month of time and a whole lot of money. But she and Molly lost a child. Marco was lighting a candle at the church when Gio walked in. It was the first time they met, and they were both there to pray for their mothers. Gio told him it was his mom's birthday, which he marked every year by lighting a candle in her honor. Marco said he might start the same tradition. They spoke somberly about the difficulty of losing their mothers. Gio acknowledged that some people thought Natalia's death was his grandfather's fault, but he swore to Marco that Sonny had nothing to do with it. Before leaving, Marco admitted the coroner's report showed no signs of foul play, but did not indicate he was helping his father target Sonny. After Marco left, Brooke Lynn walked in with flowers to light a candle in honor of Camilla's birthday. She offered to leave, but Gio said she should stay because the day was about his mom and not him. They talked about Camilla and what a talented violinist she was. Brooke Lynn told Gio he was the person he was because of the way Camilla raised him and how she passed on her love of music to him. She said Camilla was kind, thoughtful, and generous. When she remarked how chill both he and Camilla were, they laughed that he didn't get that from Brooke Lynn. They sat in a pew to talk more about Camilla. Brooke Lynn assured, regardless of Camilla not telling him the truth, she had loved him with her whole heart. At Windermere, Sidwell was meeting with Jordan and Lucy. Lucy was reading some of the negative comments posted by Erica Kane about deception. She worried deception was going to go out of business. As Lucy took a moment to calm down, Jordan received a call from Curtis about Stella and left. After he left the church, Marco went to see his dad to tell him he couldn't wait any longer to use his leverage against Sonny, lest it become useless. Sidwell said he would deploy that bomb when the time was right. But Marco was upset because Sonny got to keep living his life like he wasn't either directly or indirectly involved in Natalia's death. Marco wanted Sonny to pay, but Sidwell told him he'd have to be patient a little longer. After Marco left, Lucy came back in. He said he checked, and the deception stock was plummeting. She felt they were going to lose the company, but Sidwell said there was something he could do to help. He said he would invest in deception to keep it afloat, but he would need a larger interest in the company in return. Willow met Drew at the Port Charles Grill. She said she needed strong allies in order to get her kids back, and the only ones she had were Elizabeth, Rick, and hopefully, Drew. After she told him about her conversation with Christina, Drew promised to help her get the kids back when Nina walked in. Nina asked what in God's name she was doing with Drew. Nina and Drew argued back and forth as she begged Willow not to let Drew, the charlatan, back in her life. Willow felt she needed someone with Drew's power and influence to get her kids back, but Nina reminded her that nothing he did to help her actually ever panned out. Drew began to argue with Nina again, but she told him to shut up. As she pleaded with Willow to leave, Willow blamed her again for losing the kids and said, at least, Drew had wanted to tell the truth. Nina called him a manipulative, sleazy son of a bitch. Unmoved, Willow said Nina kept her mouth shut and allowed her to be blindsided on her wedding day. She then told Drew she would go back to him if he kept his promise to get her kids back and left. After he left Windermere, Marco walked into the restaurant and eavesdropped on Drew and Nina's argument. In the end, Nina said, "I swear, if you hurt my daughter again, I'll see you dead." When Drew said he could have her arrested for that threat, she responded, "You can try, Drew, but be careful, because the most dangerous person is the one who has nothing left to lose." After Nina left, Marco approached Drew. He said it sounded like the congressman had a huge problem on his hands and claimed to have the solution. At the hospital, Isaiah was talking with Stella, who felt the investigation against her would not succeed. Later, she was going over paperwork with a patient when the investigators arrived to inform her that her employment had been suspended. Meanwhile, Curtis met Portia in her office. He let her know that Stella was in serious trouble. Tensions began to rise between them again as Curtis felt Drew was able to target Stella because of Portia. Isaiah came in to let them know the investigators were back. Stella, Portia, Isaiah, and Curtis confronted the investigators to get them to leave, but they told Stella she was under arrest. Curtis tried in vain to get them to back off. Curtis had called Jordan, who arrived, and let them know she'd talked with a former colleague in the DEA who was contacting the investigators' boss. They agreed to wait a few minutes to see if the situation could be sorted out. Soon, the investigators said they were given the green light to arrest Stella. Curtis called Alexis and asked her to go to the PCPD. He then asked Jordan to ask her friend at the DEA office to contact the fraud division to explain what Drew was doing to Stella. Isaiah stood by Portia as she was irritatingly watched Jordan be helpful. Curtis tried to stop Portia as she was walking off, but she said there was nothing she could do for his Aunt Stella that he and his ex-wife weren't doing already. At a nurse's station, Elizabeth was happy to see Lucas was back from taking Maxie to Boston. He said the specialists there would be able to run all sorts of tests in order to figure out what was keeping Maxie in a coma. Ava came to ask Lucas for help. She pretended not to have been sleeping and asked if he'd write her a short-term prescription for sleeping pills because her doctor couldn't see her for another few weeks. He agreed to prescribe her 30 days' worth with no refills. Later, Lucas spilled the tea to Elizabeth about Rick and Ava no longer being together. He said he'd avoided spending time with Ava before because of Carly and Sonny, but now discovered he actually liked spending time with her. Elizabeth displayed mild disgust at the thought of him actually liking Ava. When it seemed he had no intention of moving out of Ava's anytime soon, Elizabeth told him he couldn't stay there forever and asked if he was holding out hope that Marco would want to live with him. Hello, everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Britt Westbourne may make a burner phone call to Jason Morgan. Will Britt cave in with an SOS for Jocelyn Jackson Vaughn? Jason tried his best to convince Britt to leave the Five Poppies resort with him, but she refused. Despite Jason's offer to take Britt anywhere she wanted to go, she was adamant that he needed to leave on his own. Jason finally agreed to go, but he pushed Britt to accept a burner phone and urged her to call if she ever needed him. Since Jason promised that he'd show up, that's a promise he'll keep if Britt puts that burner phone to good use. Now that this burner phone has come into play, it seems likely Britt will indeed call Jason on it at some point. Britt may end up making that call far sooner than she expected if she discovers Jocelyn and Vaughn's lives are at risk. Vaughn and Jocelyn have become Pascal's captives, so Britt may figure that out and worry about them facing a grim fate. Britt knows this whole operation is dangerous, so she may have to make an emergency phone call to Jason. It could lead to Jason rushing back to the Five Poppies resort on an urgent mission to save Carly Spencer's daughter before it's too late. Jason may do whatever it takes to rescue Jocelyn, along with Vaughn, since he's caught up in all this as well. Britt's phone call could set this rescue in motion and allow her to play hero to Jocelyn once again. GH fans will recall how Britt saved Jocelyn from Heather Weber's hook, but now she may save her from Pascal and any other threats on the property. By summoning Jason for backup, Britt could play a crucial role in keeping Jocelyn alive. Jocelyn and Vaughn will rely on all their WSB skills and try to wiggle out of the mess they're stuck in, but it may not be enough. Britt may fear these two are in over their heads and make a burner phone call to Jason that'll change everything. In soaps, it ain't over till it's over, and sometimes not even then either. Case in point, although General Hospital split up Willow and Chase years ago, and in heartbreaking fashion, the old flames' warm feelings for one another have recently returned to the fore, with her life in shambles and his marriage to Brooke Lynn experiencing some unexpected turbulence. Could Willow and Chase find themselves being drawn to another as more than friends? Here's what Caitlin McMullen has to say on the subject. When it comes to the former couple's potential as a future couple, the actress tells Soaps.com, "I think probably, maybe, it could happen. I'd like to think that she'd be like, no, Chase and I just will always have this love for each other. We'll always have each other's backs, no matter what." But of course, in daytime, that kind of closeness can, and often does, lead to more. McMullen has even discussed what's going on with Josh Swickard from a perspective of our characters held this really special place in each other's lives. Their circumstances have changed, a lot, with Willow blowing up her marriage to Michael to go all in with sleazy Drew, and Chase tying the knot with Brooke Lynn, only to learn that Gio is her surprise son. But even though Willow and Chase been through some crazy ups and downs, especially with the breakups and all that, McMullen says, I think in the soap world, it could definitely turn into an emotional quagmire. General Hospital spoilers hint that Colette Moreau's body may be found afloat. Rocco Falconeri and Danny Morgan are set to make a ghastly sighting. So could Colette be the one they discover? GH's preview video for the week of August 25th to 9 shows Danny and Rocco reeling over a body in the water. There's a good chance someone's about to face a grim fate. So who's it going to be? Colette is an expendable character who might be a good option under the circumstances. It feels like Colette's time may be running out since she's secretly working against the WSB. Colette just riled Jack Brennan up in his office and basically got a death threat in response. However, Brennan may not be the most likely culprit if Colette does end up being the floating body. After all, Brennan and his team made sure Cyrus Renaud disappeared without a trace. They also cleaned up the scene after the fake nurse assassin targeted Sonny Corinthos in that LA hospital. In other words, if Brennan wanted Colette gone permanently, we'd like to think he wouldn't be sloppy enough to let her body be found. Brennan seems like he'd be smart and efficient enough to simply make Colette vanish, never to be seen or heard from again. Plus, Brennan doesn't know the extent of Colette's shady behavior just yet. so it's premature for him to take action against her. However, there's someone else who might have a motive to get rid of Colette, who appeared at Windermere toward the end of the August 26th episode. Sidwell made it clear that he didn't answer to Colette or Pascal, so he doesn't appreciate Colette's arrogant personality. Colette sought updates on behalf of their mutual associate, who's apparently the mystery boss that everyone's been buzzing about. Now that Colette is in Sidwell's home and already proving she knows how to get on his nerves, trouble could be brewing. There's the potential for Colette's visit to head south quickly. If Colette dishes out a threat that Sidwell doesn't like, he may decide to eliminate her. We could certainly imagine Sidwell tossing Colette off the parapet and paving the way for the body discovery Danny and Rocco will ultimately make in the water. General Hospital spoilers suggest Colette could be a goner, so don't miss all the horrific news to come. General Hospital spoilers update for Thursday, August 28th reveals that Michael Corinthos will face a crushing blow while Portia Robinson delivers a marriage ultimatum. Tracy Quartermain will also get a surprise visitor, so some great scenes are ahead on the ABC soap. For starters, let's talk about Giovanni Gio Palmieri, who made some progress with Brooklyn Quartermain when they crossed paths at the church. Now Gio will start building a connection with Dante Falconeri, who'll be grateful for the chance to get to know his son a little better. Over with Trina Robinson, she'll discover something that leaves her reeling. There's a good chance that'll involve the news of Stella Henry's arrest and the fact that Drew Kane is to blame. It looks like Martin Gray may seek an alliance with Tracy, who'll be surprised over a visitor desperate enough to turn to her. Tracy has formed a friendship with Stella, so she may be willing to use her Quartermain money, power, and connections to help her. If there's one thing Martin and Tracy can agree on, it's that Stella doesn't belong behind bars. Nevertheless, Stella committed the crime and will worry she'll have to do the time. Now that Drew's stirred up medical insurance fraud trouble, Stella will fret over the possibility that she might actually do a prison stint. Sonny Corinthos will get updates on Stella's ordeal, so he'll fume and once again promise Alexis Davis that Drew's payback is looming. In the meantime, Portia will get way too dramatic as she delivers an ultimatum to Curtis Ashford. "If you walk out that door, I'll know our marriage is over," Portia exclaims in Thursday's GH preview video. Portia will be upset over Curtis' lingering bond with Jordan Ashford, but he may insist there are far more important things to worry about since Stella is at the police station. It looks like Curtis will indeed walk out on Portia, who'll smash something in a fit of rage as a result. Next, Drew will get all smug as he confronts Michael over some newfound knowledge. It looks like Drew will hold great power after Marco Rios' off-screen confession about the judge bribery. Drew will taunt Michael and dish out some threats as a result, so Michael may lose the upper hand in this custody case. Gen Z's Sidwell was actually behind that bribe, but Sonny may seem like the guilty party if the truth comes out. When Sidwell finds out Marco ran his mouth to Drew, he'll absolutely lose it. Sidwell had a carefully crafted plan that Marco blew to smithereens, so he won't be happy with his son at all. General Hospital spoilers say Marco will try to explain his actions, but it'll be tough to calm Sidwell down. General Hospital spoilers for the week of September 15th reveal that a crime scene investigation will get underway while Willow Tate faces a legal problem. Britt Westbourne also seems poised to make a bold move, so let's discuss all the drama that's coming up on the ABC soap. For starters, Stella Henry will fear the worst after getting arrested. It'll leave Stella worried about her potential prison stint and the trouble Curtis Ashford might land in by going after revenge on Drew Kane. Of course, Portia Robinson may be the one to truly be concerned about, since she's on the verge of stepping into dangerous territory. If Portia seeks Drew payback instead, she could face consequences of her own. Kai Taylor will also have to decide if he's ready to turn against Drew and team up with Trina Robinson once she makes a pitch. Thanks to what Drew did to Stella, Kai may be willing to join Trina's vengeful side. Over with Elizabeth Baldwin, she'll no doubt sense that something's amiss when it comes to missing Rick Lansing. Rick's vanishing act will undoubtedly raise concerns for Liz, especially since he's representing Willow. This will put Willow in a bind and may force her to get another lawyer to represent her in this custody case. With Rick MIA, Willow may have no choice but to rely on someone else for legal help. That could leave Nina Reeves furious with Rick and make Ava Jerome squirm if she's forced to listen to Nina's complaints about Rick bolting. Even if Rick's phone is used to make excuses for his absence via text, Elizabeth may have a gut feeling that something's off. Could Liz be the one to unravel Ava, Christina Corinthos Davis, and Alexis Davis's captivity plot sooner or later? As for Molly Lansing Davis, she may have questions of her own after Rick suddenly drops off the map. There'll also be a crime scene investigation after Danny Morgan and Rocco Falconeri find a body down by the docks. The cops will look into this and try to nail down exactly what happened to the victim. If Colette Moreau turns up floating in the water, perhaps after getting on Jenza Sidwell's bad side and being tossed off the parapet, the WSB is going to get involved too. Jack Brennan may have to tackle a Colette mystery while trying to get updates on Vaughn and Jocelyn Jax's situation in Croatia. Next, Britt may make a daring move after developing some new suspicions at the Five Poppies Resort. Will Britt use the burner phone Jason Morgan provided to call for backup or fly solo as she seeks more info? Either way, Britt could get tangled up in all the Jocelyn and Vaughn chaos at some point, so stick with us for all the dangerous news to come. General Hospital spoilers say the week of September 5 will bring some exciting curveballs and heated confrontations. She stepped into the role, which Michelle Stafford originated, after the brilliant redhead vacated the role to return to The Young and the Restless as Phyllis Summers. Watros knew it wouldn't be easy to walk in and be the new face, but she gave it her all. After stepping into the role of Nina Reeves on GH, Cynthia Watros wasn't convinced she would make it on the ABC soap. While speaking with Remind magazine, she revealed that for a solid 6 months, she was convinced she would be fired from GH. Watros said, "I was convinced for the first 6 months I might lose this job." She also acknowledged that she knew she wasn't a hit with fans. Viewers did give her a hard time as Nina. However, there was a turning point where things began to flesh out, and fans accepted Watros as the new Nina Reeves. Around 6 months into filming, Watros moved forward and let the doubts and what-ifs melt away. She continued, and things progressively felt more familiar. Their chemistry was immediate when Cynthia Watros was paired opposite James Patrick Stewart as Valentine. Their toxic on-screen romance and his grand romantic gestures were hits with viewers. He stood beside her when almost no one else would. Their scenes were some of the best early work from Watros as Nina. Watros has been given plenty of content as Nina to leave viewers with a bad taste in their mouths, but she continues to knock it out of the park. Her ability to have a wide range of emotions and use them appropriately is such a treat. Specifically, her work opposite Cameron Matheson as Drew and Caitlin McMullen as Willow that has been featured recently. General Hospital spoilers tease that Jack Brennan is playing a dangerous game with Carly Spencer and her daughter, Jocelyn Jax. No, he's not sleeping with both of them, but his double dealing is just as spicy, and when he gets caught, all of PC will be rocked. Is he about to do an end-around before his secret is exposed? Here's what to know, GH fans. In the Monday, July 21st episode, Brennan pops a bottle of bubbly at the Metro Court pool with Carly. She wants to know what they're celebrating, and Sneaky Brennan says he needs no reason to celebrate her. In the end, they discuss their wonderful future and marvel at how committed they are to one another. What could go wrong? Does Brennan have marriage on the mind? Their interactions at the pool are the kind of lovey-dovey that suggest he could propose soon. And that would dig him a deeper hole, since he's keeping his employment of Joss at the WSB a huge secret. Carly hates secrets. We suspect the timing of this ramp-up in affection for Barley, since Anna Devane and Dante Falconeri now know that Jocelyn has WSB involvement via Vaughn. In the July 18th epi, Anna grilled Carly about Vaughn and told her about Joss's Cyrus Renauld fixation. Carly still doesn't know that Joss killed him, with Brennan knowing all about it. In fact, Brennan bread-crumbed Joss straight to Cyrus, and after the dirty work was done, offered her a job as a WSB agent. When Carly finds all of this backstory out, she will morph into Snarly. So it's imperative that Brennan move things along before this happens, and his hide is chewed to bits. Tell us what you think, GH fans. Will Brennan propose to Carly soon? thereby complicating the dynamic of his life? And if so, do you feel sorry for Carly, the same woman who came to PC to seduce her mom's husband? What we do know is that General Hospital spoilers indicate that Joss and Carly's worlds are about to blown sky high, and you don't want to miss a single minute of the red-hot action. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with General Hospital right now. Come back here often for the hottest GH updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. It's been a big year for General Hospital's Kelly Thiebaud as she made a return to the ABC soap as Britt Westbourne, a role she originated in 2012. 13 years later, she is in the thick of it as Britt as she celebrates her birthday. Thiebaud was born on August 28, 1982, in El Campo, Texas. Thiebaud began her professional career as a model before venturing into acting and landing a role in the independent flick Journey of Redemption in 2002. She went on to appear in a variety of episodic television series and TV movies, including Chuck, Castle, and The Secret Life of the American Teenager. In 2012, she began playing General Hospital's Britt, also known as the Britch. In 2014, Thiebaud opted to go on recurring status with GH and made sporadic appearances between 2015 and 2018. In 2020, Thiebaud became a two-soap actress when she returned to GH on a regular basis, and also took on the role of Zoe Burge on Days of Our Lives, who was eventually revealed to be Orpheus' grown daughter. From 2020 to 2022, Thiebaud also had a recurring role on the ABC primetime series, Station 19. She also won a Daytime Emmy for playing Britt in 2033. When Thiebaud left GH again in 2023, it looked like the end of the road for Dr. Britt Westbourne, as she allegedly died in her mother's arms after her New Year's Eve birthday party. However, we have now learned that wasn't true. Somehow, Britt survived. We just don't know how yet. So far, we do know that Britt is living at a 5-star resort in Croatia against her will while working on a secret scientific research project. Jason has found her there, but she ordered him to leave, while it seemed to break her heart. Upon Thiebaud's return, she told TV Insider how glad she was to be back on General Hospital. "I'm so happy," she said. "It's an adjustment to be back. It feels in a way like I never left, which is strange, but I'm really excited to see what the writers have in store for me, and to just continue to do the best work possible and get my groove back with that." It's been a good year for Daniel Goddard as he made his soap opera comeback as Professor Henry Dalton on General Hospital. Now, the former young and the restless star has something else to celebrate: his birthday. Goddard was born on August 28, 1971, in Sydney, Australia. Although he originally pursued a career in finance, he enrolled at Australia's Ensemble Actors Studio before he completed his degree. Before long, Goddard landed a role on his very first soap opera, the Australian soap Home and Away. The actor eventually moved to Los Angeles, where he began modeling, but a role on the series Beastmaster took him back to his native Australia from 1999 to 2002. Goddard returned to the U.S. after Beastmaster ended, landing episodic roles on a variety of television shows, including Monk and Wildcard. In 2007, Goddard took on the role of Kane Ashby on The Young and the Restless, a character he played until 2019. As Kane, Goddard was teamed with Crystal Khalil's Lily Winters, and the two became one of the soap's most popular pairings. After several years away from the daytime TV scene, Goddard reappeared this year as GH's Henry Dalton, a college professor involved in an animal testing scandal that the WSB has taken a keen interest in. It's clear that Dalton's research is related to whatever Britt Westbourne is doing in Croatia. Dalton has also shown himself to be a bit of a womanizer, as he has flirted with Anna, as well as her granddaughter, college student Emma. The actor expressed gratitude for the warm welcome General Hospital fans have shown him in the Instagram video below. Goddard originally auditioned to play recast Jack Brennan. After Chris McKenna landed the part, Goddard's agent called to tell him that GH had just created a new character and the show wanted him for the role. A few weeks later, my agent Michael called me and he said, "General Hospital called, and they've got this character, and they're writing it, and they want you to do it, Goddard told TV Insider. I was like, are you kidding me? I was just gobsmacked by it. It wasn't a recast. It was a new character, and I was so blown away. I really felt like the timing was right, and I felt like it was meant to be. General Hospital spoilers for Sept 1-5-225. See Rick Lansing tortured, and Michael Corinthos shocked. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week. Then we talk about what's coming next week. On Wednesday, August 27th, somebody is giving some encouragement to Brooklyn Quartermain, and it's probably about the Maxie Jones situation. It would be great if it was Gio Palmieri being nice to his bio mom, wouldn't it? Marco Rios and Gio see some common ground. Maybe the similar being involved with mob family dynamics while not being mobbed up themselves, or maybe their mama issues. Christina Corinthos Davis is put on the spot with Molly Lansing Davis. This is funny because Molly comes up and tells Christina, I know what you did to my dad. Oh no, she does not know. So, obviously, Molly is going to confront her about pimping Cody Bell out to mess up Rick and Ava Jerome's relationship. I'm expecting a look of panic from Christina, but I don't think Molly knows. Rick is down in the basement with a BDSM ball gag in his mouth, which is bizarre. I don't know if you guys know what that thing is in his mouth. That's like something that people that like whips and chains use. I just want to know who in Alexis Davis' house happened to have that in their room handy to put on Rick. I don't even want to think about it. It's weird that the GH prop people did that when they could have used a handkerchief or something. Sonny Corinthos tells Alexis it's only a matter of time before he gets what he deserves. I believe that he's talking about Drew Kane Quartermain, not Rick, although Sonny would probably think it was hilarious that Rick was tied up in her basement. Rick is begging somebody to get him out of there. It doesn't matter who he's begging, they're not going to help. Ava tells Lucas Jones that she really needs his help. That's interesting. I don't think she's going to tell him that they've got Rick tied up in the basement. Portia Robinson sees something that leaves her unsettled. Maybe it's Curtis Ashford and Jordan Ashford, or something to do with poor Stella Henry, who's being put through the ringer. Curtis tells Portia that Aunt Stella is in serious trouble, and she is. Dr. Isaiah Gannon is talking to Stella, and she says that if she hasn't done anything wrong, the investigators aren't going to succeed, but things are going to go real badly for her this week. Willow Tate has an offer for somebody, probably Drew. If he can get the kids back, Willow may actually take him back. On Wednesday at the Port Charles Grill, Nina Reeves is absolutely disgusted to see Willow sitting there and asks what in God's name she is doing. I'm guessing she's sitting there with Drew. Willow is desperate to get her kids back. And when you're desperate and it's about your kids, you will do anything, even Drew, crazy eyes. Yuck. Thursday, August 28th. Speaking of him, Drew is pressuring Michael. I'm guessing he's going to put the heat on him to at least let Willow see the kids, have some visitation. Drew is going to be super motivated to break Michael down and do something about this custody thing, because more than anything, Drew wants Willow back. If she has dangled herself as the prize, Drew is going to find a way to win this. Trina Robinson makes a shocking discovery on Thursday, and she may find out about Drew setting up Stella. She may actually see her great-aunt arrested, which would be absolutely terrible. The law enforcement guys are coming this week to put cuffs on poor Stella. Plus, Dante Falconeri and Gio have a moment. There's a little connection there. So Gio may also be offering Dante some sympathy about Maxie. They're all very close, and Gio obviously is feeling less harsh about Dante, because Gio mostly blames Brooke Lynn for all the lies about his origin story. Sonny gives reassurance to someone, and it could be on the Maxie issue. Portia crosses a line. I don't know if she gets closer to Dr. Isaiah Gannon, or maybe she does something dodgy to try and help Stella to prove herself to Curtis, because she's certainly done dodgy things for less. We're going to end the week on Friday, August 29th, with Stella sharing her fears with somebody. Stella is arrested this week, so she may be scared of going to prison. She may be scared of being taken from her family. And I think Stella's going to be scared that she's not going to be able to help patients anymore because she really cares about them. Britt Westbourne is suspicious by the end of the week, and I wonder if she has figured out that Pascal has hostages. Britt is going to be stunned if she sees Jocelyn Jacks in zip ties shoved in that little room, Pascal might figure out real quickly that Jocelyn has ties back to Britt. Trina goes to Kai for help this week, so Trina may appeal to Kai and ask him to get Drew to back off of Stella. But as harsh as Trina was on Kai before, I don't know. But bottom line, Kai really does like Stella, so he may step up. Carly Corinthos Spencer is offered something. I'm wondering if Anna Devane is going to go and offer her info. She's very worried about Jocelyn, and she's very annoyed that Jack Brennan isn't taking this more seriously. We've got Elizabeth Weber absolutely stunned this week. Rick is not around. And I wonder if Elizabeth is going to get a text saying he decided to leave town abruptly. Of course, there is supposed to be a body found this week. At this point, unless Rick is trying to get away from them and gets injured, it's probably somebody else. A lot of people are hating on Drew and want him dead. I don't think he's going to die. Colette might be a possibility, because she has been acting as a double agent with the WSB and Jens Sidwell. I wouldn't put it past Jens to take her out and toss her in the pier, the week of September 1st through 5th. Bear in mind, Monday, September 1st is Labor Day, and General Hospital broadcast history tells us to expect a rerun. If there is one, be sure and delete it off your DVR, or else it could mess up your recording of the new episode on Tuesday. Rick's disappearance begins to be noticed. If foul play is a factor, or suspected to be a factor, Sonny is a natural top suspect, which Christina wouldn't like, but she's kind of trapped. She can't speak up about anything. Alexis, Ava, and Christina are going to continue to be a conspiring coven. They are trapped together in this unlikely partnership because of Rick. They've got to figure out how to deal with him. I don't think Alexis, Christina, and Ava trust him to keep quiet if they let him go. They're going to need some kind of leverage or something to silence him. That's messy. Sidwell may decide it's the right time to release the bribery info about the judge. If Rick's disappearance becomes publicly known and the cops are looking for him, Sidwell told Marco they need to wait on the best time. If Rick is gone and Sonny is suspected, releasing that info would be very harmful because it would look like he had a motive to get rid of his brother other than just general hatred. Maxie's family leans on each other for support. Britt is at odds with herself. She's still hot for Jason Morgan, but rightfully salty about him. Now she's got to worry about Jocelyn being there. Of course, we still don't know who the secret boss is, but he definitely has leverage over Britt. Dante and Brooklyn have reason to hope for a future with their son, Gio. Michael faces a setback. By the way, if you want to see Tristan Rogers' last ever soap appearance, go over to Paramount Plus and watch the Tuesday, August 26th episode of Young and the Restless. We all thought his last soap appearance was in July on GH, but no. A few weeks before he passed away, he filmed a scene as Colin Atkinson, his Y&R character. What's really super sad about this is it was a deathbed scene, and he was himself terminally ill and just a few weeks away from his own death when he filmed this. So it's very sad. They were very powerful scenes on Young and the Restless. He's amazingly professional all the way to the end. General Hospital's Jocelyn blurted out some number to Pascal that may or may not have been the combination to a lockbox that Jack Brennan has in his Port Charles WSB office. However, they weren't just some random numbers that popped into Jocelyn's head. According to Chris McKenna, they have a very special meaning. After the August 26th episode aired, McKenna took to X to reveal what those numbers really meant, or at least to give fans a clue. The code Jocelyn gives Pascal is a clever little Easter egg from the writers, McKenna wrote. Anybody figured what it is? A quick Google search reveals that October 18th, 1977 is McKenna's birthday. Since Jocelyn was telling Pascal how to get into Jack's box with some top-secret classified materials, it makes sense that the writers would make sure the numbers related to Jack. However, one fan pointed out another meaning for this significant date that McKenna could relate to. A nod to Mr. October Reggie Jackson's 3 home runs in Game 6 of the 1977 World Series, at Kernzatron 5000 wrote, along with a gif from that long-ago Yankees game. New York native McKenna replied, "Bah ha ha ha, absolutely! I was being born down the street when it happened. My dad was grateful I came out in time, so he didn't miss the game." While McKenna was being born during a famous World Series baseball game, Jocelyn was dressed in her undercover tennis best when she did her best to save Vaughn from Pascal's torture. Pascal seemed satisfied with Jocelyn's information, but was she trying to throw him off track to buy some time for her and Vaughn to escape? Back in Port Charles, Anna warned Jack to abort the mission and get Jocelyn home as soon as possible before the young agent gets herself killed. Did Jocelyn do something to make her situation worse? Or did she really give Pascal the right numbers? If she did, would we one day learn that October 18th is also Jack's birthday? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.